area of the mountainside. I pointed out some way back when we entered that kind of outer limit, the outer zone, and again much later in the tour I'll point out when we leave from the other direction. But when I talk about the bunkers, I'm more focusing on the central area of the complex. So mostly the area where we are and have been for the last little while, underneath these most important buildings. So just underneath this area, there are in total 4 miles of documented bunkers and interconnecting tunnels. When I say bunkers and tunnels, it kind of brings to mind visually a smallish, kind of tight, narrow picture, but that's not really the case here with these bunkers. The bunker network here very extensive, set up very comfortably, because these bunkers were not designed only to be temporary shelter, temporary air raid shelters in the event of a bombing raid. It was designed to be, if necessary, a fully functioning underground headquarters. So very large system, quite big large rooms down within those bunkers. We're going to head upwards to the right, yeah. Big tunnels. Some of the tunnels within the bunker network were built large enough that big trucks could drive through those tunnels with supplies and that kind of thing. And in many cases the bunkers also multiple stories going down below the ground. So very extensive network set up very comfortably. So the whole bunker network powered with electricity, lighting, running water, heating as well down there. And then the plan being for the layout that each of the buildings, or the important buildings certainly that we've been talking about, had their own bunker belonging to it, and the purpose of each bunker would have reflected the purpose of the building above. So in the case of the leaders' homes, where we just were at Hitler's Berghof, the Berghof had its own bunker within the mountainside, and it was set up pretty much to be a home down below the ground if necessary. So everything you'd expect to find in a home, fully tiled and equipped kitchens, bathrooms, fully furnished bedrooms, living rooms, offices and studies, storage areas. If they were down there for long periods of time, they would potentially need supplies. So big storage areas. There were a number of pretty large reinforced collective air raid shelters built so that if there were to be a bombing raid, big groups of people could gather together there. And all of the communications type equipment you'd expect in a headquarters just inside the mountain. So telephone switchboards, all of that kind of thing as well. And then the plan being, had they finished the construction, which actually they didn't, that each of the bunkers, everything would be all connected together, so you could travel the whole network, remaining basically in the compound below the ground without having to come up above ground. But as I say, they never actually finished the construction. The construction came to an end quite abruptly, I suppose, with the bombing raid. And actually it was a huge amount of construction work completed in the grand scheme of things in a very short period of time, because they started the bunker construction actually quite late on. So it's quite unbelievable that they managed to achieve what they did in, as I say, such a short period of time. So yeah, we're going to turn into here and then just park wherever you can.
Seems to be a few people.
Yeah, some buses.
Yeah.
For this place, we pay.
The original Sound of Music tour.
Oh wow. Not a place where people live. Just going check things
Double parking.
Yeah. It's busy.
Any chance we could park along here?
Yeah, just
for the documentation center?
If you stay behind the bus, then it doesn't matter too much. But if we're leaving the bus, then they'll want us to double parking there. So it depends. As I say, quite a lot achieved in the grand scheme of things a very short period of time. They started very, very late on. So the construction for the bunkers ended in April of 45 with the bombing raid, but they hadn't even started the construction of the bunkers until July of 1943. So yeah, a huge amount achieved. As I say, very comfortably set up as well, all very well furnished. All the furniture you'd expect, but to a very high standard. I say it would have matched the building. So for a bunker complex, a very high standard of furnishings and decor and so forth. The bunkers are all still there, down underneath the mountainside. So where we were just at Hitler's Berghof, that bunker is still remaining below the ground. But in the most part, the bunkers are just sealed up. They're closed and there's no access to them. There's just one location where we can see an original section. So it's just a small section. It's not the whole thing. So we don't have access to the whole thing. Just a little small section. That's what we're going to be doing for the next part of the tour. It's the bunker that formerly belonged to one of those VIP guest houses that I mentioned. And that guest house also acted as party headquarters on the mountainside. So they had also in there quite a lot of offices, filing, documentation, storage, that kind of thing as well. So that's what we're going to see. It doesn't look quite the same as I've described regarding the furniture and so forth. So there isn't any furniture in there anymore. The bunkers are empty. Lots and lots of souvenirs were taken after the war, as you can imagine, but structurally what we're going to see is original. So the concrete, the brickwork, the actual construction of the bunkers, the different rooms branching out from that kind of thing, that is original construction. So we'll be able to see that. The building that we're headed to is called the Documentation Centre Obersalzberg. So it's not quite a museum, it's more of a historical information centre. They've got lots of big information panels talking about what happened here on the mountainsides with some photographs and things, and also it goes into a little bit more general information about World War II. We're going to skip the centre itself because, I mean, the kind of tour that you have been on for the last days or weeks, the general information about World War II is going to be stuff that you already know. And the Obersalzberg part of the centre, that's exactly the tour that I'm giving you today, but I prefer to do it on location where the history actually happened rather than just reading about it in the centre. So we'll skip that part, and we're here to see the most unique part, which is of course that original bunker. So all you need to do is follow me. A couple of things as we head over. Firstly, we're going to do a bathroom break before we go into the bathrooms, before we go into the bunker. So I know some of you have asked about that already. We are going to do bathrooms before we head in. Secondly, I will ask you please to, at this point, deliberately not take your backpacks or rucksacks if you have any, because you're not allowed to take them into the bunker. So it makes much more sense to just leave them here on the bus. And the same also if you have any drinks, water bottles, that kind of thing. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to take those in, so do leave those behind on the bus also. So we will be back on the bus after our visit. It is a little bit cooler. It's not cold, but it's a little bit cooler in the bunker. So if you did want to keep a sweater or a jacket with you, you are allowed to take photographs throughout. So cameras if you want to take the pictures, and then all you need to do is follow me.
Do you see those fingers? I wish I was that skinny.
Yeah, seriously.